local news, St. Louis Metropolitan Police are investigating the break-ins of more than a dozen cars in downtown St. Louis. KMOX reports it happened around 1:30 Sunday morning in the 2300 block of Clark. Department spokesperson Erica Van Ross stated in an interview that 14 cars were broken into and had various items taken, including a GPS system, clothing, and iPods.
CQ Press is saying that St. Louis is the second most dangerous city in the United States. The Washington, D.C.-based publishing company's latest report lists Camden, New Jersey at number 1, with Oakland, California, Detroit, Michigan, and Flint, Michigan rounding out the top 5. St. Louis Mayor Francis Slay says the rankings have been discredited by criminologists and the United States Conference of Mayors. Slay says that doesn't mean St. Louis doesn't have safety issues, but he says crime is actually down 9% this year compared to 2008. The publisher says it bases its figures on the 2008 FBI crime reports covering murder, rape, robbery, assault, burglary, and auto theft. Last year, St. Louis was 4th on the list. It was number 2 in 2007, and it ranked number 1 nationally back in 2006.
In national news, after the Thanksgiving recess, the United States Senate will be digging into the health care bill. Debate will begin after the recess as Majority Leader Harry Reid did a test vote on the bill on Saturday. The bill passed the Senate on a 60-39 vote. However, the vote opens the bill to floor debate only. Congressional Budget Analysis puts the legislation's cost at $979 billion over a decade and said it would reduce deficits over the same period while extending coverage to 94% of the eligible population. The legislation will require most Americans to carry insurance and provide subsidies for those who couldn't afford it. Large companies can incur costs if they do not provide coverage for their workforce. The insurance industry would come under significant new regulation under the bill, which would first ease and then ban the practice of denying coverage on the basis of pre-existing medical conditions.
Major Nidal Malik Hassan, the alleged Fort Hood gunman, is permanently paralyzed from the waist down, according to his lawyer. The New York Daily News reports that the attorney participated Saturday in an hour-long closed-door hearing in an intensive care room at a Brooke Army Medical Center, where the magistrate ruled that Hassan will be held until he is transferred to jail. Hassan, the Army psychiatrist charged with killing 13 people in the November 5th massacre at Fort Hood, has no sensation from the nipple area down, according to his civilian attorney, John P. Galligan. He is charged with 13 counts of premeditated murder in the shooting spree. A court-martial date has not yet been set.
The BBC is reporting that 21 politicians and journalists that were abducted in southern Philippines have been found dead in ongoing political violence. The group seized on the island of Mindanao by Army men as they tried to file nomination papers for a candidate in local elections next year. The country is to hold nationwide elections in May 2010. Registration for local and national races began earlier this month.
Israel and Hamas are reportedly close to a deal to swap 1,000 Palestinian prisoners for an Israeli soldier that has been held for more than 3 years by the Islamic militant group, the AP has reported. Israeli President Shimon Peres, who met with Egypt's president in Cairo on Sunday, confirmed the progress in the negotiations to free the captured soldier, Sergeant Gilad Shalit. But Israeli officials refused to comment further. Hamas's deputy political leader, Moussa Abdi Marzouk, has said that there is progress in the talks. The Palestinian close to the talks said Palestinian prisoners would be released in 2 stages. The initial batch is expected to include many serving lengthy sentences for deadly attacks on Israelis. Among them would be Marwan Barghouti, a popular leader of Hamas rival Fatah, who is serving multiple life sentences for involvement in deadly attacks. Barghouti is seen as a top contender for the next Palestinian presidential elections.
When we come back, Internet Explorer gets a major speed bump.
And who walked away with the Artist of the Year at the American Music Awards?
We have cooler weather in the forecast, and rain showers are likely for your Tuesday. The big cool down comes midweek. How cold will it get? More details after the break.
Welcome back to SLU News 22. David is back to take a look at the weather week. I tell you what, they're setting up Christmas lights outside the BSC. It's starting to feel like that time of year.
It is starting to feel a little bit like that, and temperatures are going to be feeling a little bit more like Christmas as we head through the week. Today, however, still felt like a rather warm, maybe early fall-like day, as we did have high temperatures around the area, right at 60 degrees. The normal is 50, so we're 10 degrees above average still. The record 75 set back in 1931, and the record low of 8 degrees set back in 1950. We are going to be headed downhill here in the next couple days, but we're not headed into record low territory. This afternoon, we did see quite a bit of sunshine thanks to an area of high pressure off to our southeast. Some low clouds did build in late in the afternoon, so it ended with a very gray sunset. And off to our west, you can see the beginnings of our next weather change as a low pressure system is developing over Kansas and Nebraska, and rain is breaking out, and there is even a little bit of snow being reported over northwest Kansas and southwest Nebraska. Now, temperatures across the area this evening, we were in the 50s across eastern Missouri, western Illinois, but this storm system across the upper plains is beginning to push a cold front through, and behind that cold front is some very chilly temperatures. They are in the 30s across western Kansas and Nebraska, and we're going to be getting a taste of that air here in the next couple of days. The high pressure that brought us the sunny and warm conditions this afternoon is going to be fading away and shifting off to our east as we turn our attention to the storm system as it pushes a cold front into our area tomorrow morning. That means an increased chance for showers and thunderstorms, especially towards the afternoon. Now, once that storm system is out of here by Wednesday, we'll still see cloudy skies, much cooler temperatures, and as the cool air really builds in on Thursday, Thanksgiving Day is going to be very chilly here in the St. Louis area, and there is a very slight chance for some isolated sprinkles or even flurries. So watch out for snowflakes on Thanksgiving. Now, across the nation for your Thanksgiving Day, it is looking rather cold across the upper Midwest and interior Northeast. Across the coast, there is a good chance for showers into the Great Lakes region, and across the Great Lakes with that very cool air, we could be seeing some snow showers. Across the Gulf Coast, it is looking very warm with some isolated thunderstorms, warm across the southwest, and some more rain in the northwest. Here is your forecast for Tuesday. When you wake up, 48 degrees. Rain increasing with a south wind around 7 miles per hour. By noontime, the rain is across the area, 54 degrees, and a high temperature of 57 degrees by 4 p.m. with scattered showers. The rain should be moving out as we head towards the evening with the temperatures falling back to 50 degrees. And here is a sneak peek at your Thanksgiving Day forecast. A high temperature of 42 degrees, very chilly, mostly cloudy, and a chance for some flurries across the area and very gusty northwest winds around 10 to 20 miles per hour. Here is your 7-day forecast for St. Louis. Once again, tomorrow a high of 57 degrees. Showers across the area on Wednesday, cooling down to 50. Very chilly on Thanksgiving with a high of 42 degrees. Some isolated sprinkles or snow flurries. Warming up to 48 on Friday, and on 55 on Saturday, but that's as warm as it gets, as it looks like we do have another cool down as we head towards next week. So we are trending in that general direction of winter over the next few days.
So maybe some snow on Thanksgiving.
Maybe you'll see a snowflake or two.
All right, sounds good.
I was hoping for snow on the Thanksgiving Day parade, but it's like it's not going to happen. Well, thank you, David.
Yeah.
In tech news, Internet Explorer 9 was unveiled at the Professional Developers Conference in Los Angeles last Wednesday. Steven Sinofsky of Microsoft showed up IE9's new hardware-accelerated text and graphics. Under the covers, IE9 acceleration works by employing Microsoft's Direct2D interface rather than its GDI or graphical device interface. Direct2D provides a general way for software to take advantage of hardware acceleration for graphics, and IE9 will employ it, reports CNN.
Astronauts on the Space Shuttle Atlantis made their third and last spacewalk before returning to the Kennedy Space Center on Saturday. Atlantis is carrying 2 spare parts containers known as the Express Logistics Carriers. The shuttle's robotics arms lifted them into place, and the spacewalkers helped attach them to the ISS. In all, there are over 27,000 pounds worth of spare parts on board this mission.
In entertainment news, Michael Jackson won 4 posthumous awards in Sunday's American Music Awards. Taylor Swift won the award for the year's favorite artist, which brought her total number of wins to 5 at the event. The victories came during a performance-filled show that closed with an S&M-themed sexually charged performance by Adam Lambert. On the elaborate set filled with stairs and platforms, fondled a female dancer, kissed an androgynous bandmate, and led two leather-clad men across the stage in leashes as he sang the title track from his new CD, For Your Entertainment, that's out this week.
Well, if you're curious about how much New Moon made at the box office over the weekend, the movie made over $140 million, made it the third biggest opening weekend ever, behind The Dark Knight and Spider-Man 3. The movie made over $72 million on opening day. To compare, New Moon made $60 million more on opening weekend than Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince did. It made $30 million more than Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen, and more than twice as much as last weekend's 2012. Well, an Atlantic 10 championship, an NCAA tournament berth, and quite a weekend in Billiken sports. We've got an undefeated basketball team.
Wow.
We'll talk about it when we come back on SLU News 22.
Thanks for staying with us, and Chris is here with sports, and I hear about a playoff berth for the soccer team?
That's right. Topping this week's sports stories is a congratulations to the Billiken's men's soccer team. Last weekend, the Bills headed to Rhode Island as the number 2 seed in the Atlantic 10 Conference Tournament. On Friday night, they had to play the host, the Roadies of Rhode Island, and beat them in a neck-and-neck game with a late goal to win 3-2. Then on Sunday, the Bills played the number 1 seed Dayton in a physical dogfight of a game that resembled the bitter rivalry between those two schools. St. Louis defeated Dayton 2-0. This was SLU's first ever Atlantic 10 Conference Championship in soccer, and it gave them an automatic bid for the NCAA tournament. On Thursday night, the Bills beat Missouri State in a controversial game that ended 2-1 at Robert R. Herman Stadium. But then the season ended Sunday afternoon with a heartbreaking overtime loss to the Golden Hurricanes of Tulsa. It was a second-round loss in the tournament. Tulsa won the game 4-3 to end the Billiken season. In women's volleyball, the team also made a run at the Atlantic 10 tournament this past weekend. And it went into the tournament tied for first place in the A10 Conference. The tournament started on Saturday for the Lady Bills as they swept Xavier in 3 sets. Then the match everybody had been waiting for. Dayton and St. Louis went into the tournament tied for first place in the Atlantic 10, and they were ready to meet in the conference championship. Just as everybody expected, the game turned out to be an instant classic. St. Louis won the first 2 sets, 25-22 and 25-27. But Dayton took the third and fourth sets to send it to a pivotal fifth set for the conference championship. Aided by their home court crowd, the Flyers beat the Billikens 15-7 to advance to the NCAA tournament. The Billikens men's basketball team, though known as the youngest team in all of college basketball, is off to a marvelous start. With weekend victories over Southeast Missouri State and Kennesaw State, sandwiched by a convincing 15-point win over Big 12 opponent Nebraska, the Bills have a lot of confidence and swagger along with their 3-0 start. This Tuesday, the Bills host Mississippi Valley State at Shea Fitz Arena, but then they'll be tested by 3 tough road games. Over Thanksgiving break, the Bills will play Iowa State along with either Northwestern or Notre Dame, both of those games held in Chicago. Then their first game in December will come against SEC contender Georgia. The Bills return home for 6 straight home games at Shea Fitz Arena in December. We'll keep you updated on Billiken athletics every week here on SLU News 22. And for updates over Thanksgiving break, you can visit SLUbillikens.com.
I'm really impressed with that basketball team.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be a fun team to watch for sure.
All right, I'll be following them. When we come back, a final look at weather and a rare book find in a guest bathroom. Sometimes you're looking for a little light reading in the bathroom. But think about this, a rare find in a guest bathroom in Great Britain. They found a rare first edition of Charles Darwin's On the Origin of the Species in southern England. This book is one of 1,250 copies that were printed in 1859. The book is worth $99,000 according to the auction house Christie's. 2009 marks the 200th birthday anniversary of Charles Darwin.
I don't know that that's really light reading.
No, it's not. That's definitely not light reading.
It's quite a bathroom break.
Quite a read there.
Yeah. David's here for a final look at weather.
Yeah, we are looking at some more rain in the forecast, especially tomorrow during the day. A very good chance for rain as a cold front pushes through. That means cooler temperatures for your Wednesday and your Thanksgiving day. Very cool with a high of 42 degrees and some isolated sprinkles or snow flurries. So we got some cooler weather to look forward to, and I guess we're just kind of headed towards winter here, so it's a little gray out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm getting tired of clouds, but, you know.
It's been very cloudy the past few months.
Thank you, David. Have a good Thanksgiving, and thank you for joining us. You can follow us online at SLU-TV.SLU.edu, and on Twitter. You can also keep up with our content partner, University News, at unewsonline.com. This is SLU News 22.